President Biden will celebrate a victory tomorrow, signing the new bipartisan infrastructure bill into law. But as the president heralds this accomplishment, one that a significant majority of the American people support, he has also been running into a new economic reality, inflation, as prices in the U.S. surge more than they have in 30 years, according to new data from the Bureau of Labor Statistics. And as the holidays approach, Americans are seeing higher prices on everything from gas to groceries. This week, the president changed his message on the issue, acknowledging for the first time inflation is, quote, worrisome and, quote, one of the most pressing economic concerns of the American people, a response perhaps to the political reality. A brand new poll from the Washington Post ABC News shows Biden's approval rating sinking to 41%, a new low, largely because of a negative shift among Democrats and independents, as 70% of the American people, according to this poll, rate the economy negatively. 70%. 63% of the American people think Biden has not accomplished much so far. Joining us now to discuss, top economic advisor to President Biden, Brian Deese. Brian, thanks for joining us. So let's start on this dire inflation report. Take a look at how much prices have risen over the last year. Regular gas prices up more than 50%, utility gas 28%, used cars, beef, pork, eggs, all up. This new Washington Post poll shows 70% of those polled view the economy negatively, 38% say the economy's in poor condition. How concerned are you and the president about inflation, and what specifically are you doing to fix it?
Well, inflation is high right now, and it is affecting consumers in their pocketbook and also in their outlook for the economy. But those concerns underscore why it's so important that we move forward on the Build Back Better legislation, this legislation that the House is going to consider this week. This, more than anything, will go at the costs that Americans face. You talk about health care, one of the biggest costs that American families face. This will lower prescription drug prices, put a cap on prescription drug costs for our seniors. Child care, not only a big cost driver for families, but a big impediment for more parents and women to get back into the workforce. This bill will cut the cost of child care by more than half for most working families. And housing, too, a big cost driver for families. This bill will build affordable homes all around the country to make it easier for families to afford housing and also to move to places where the job opportunities are. All of these things go right at lowering costs for American families, and this bill is fully paid for. It's not going to add to inflationary pressures, quite the opposite, because we're going to pay for everything in this bill by raising taxes on big companies, large corporations, and the highest income Americans. So there's an urgency to act. The House is going to consider this bill this week, and we're looking forward to making progress in getting this done.
Right, but nothing you just mentioned, assuming that everything you're saying is accurate and comes to pass the way you want, nothing you mentioned would bring down grocery prices, would bring down gas prices. For instance, let's just take gas prices for a second. Is President Biden willing to open the Strategic Petroleum Reserve? Is he willing to stop gas and oil exports so as to alleviate the gas price issue at the pump?
Well, we are very committed to do everything that we can to make sure that American consumers don't bear the brunt of high gas prices and volatile energy prices. And the president has made clear that all options are on the table. We're monitoring the situation very carefully. One of the things that we're really focused on right now is making sure that American consumers don't actually get taken advantage of. One of the things that we've seen in oil and gas markets is because of consolidation, we have fewer large companies actually controlling the market. And so at moments like this, there's a real concern of price gouging or market manipulation that could put consumers could actually harm consumers. So we've asked the Federal Trade Commission to take a very close look at that right now in the current market conditions. And we're also engaging internationally with our counterparts to make sure that other oil-producing nations are not taking advantage of the strength of the recovery and actually profiting at the American consumer's expense. So all those issues are on the table, including Strategic Petroleum Reserve. We're monitoring that closely, and we'll continue to do so.
So, Brian, you saw the bad poll numbers for the president when it comes to the economy. I don't know how much of a factor this was, but President Biden finally publicly acknowledged inflation is worrisome this week. I want to play some sound of what you and President Biden were saying a few months ago in June.
By the way, talk of inflation. The overwhelming consensus is going to pop up a little bit and then go back down. No one's talking about this great,
to the degree that people are focused on inflationary pressures in the short term, that really is not the issue.
Do you think that you and the president were wrong and inflation is not a short-term pop up a little bit and then go back down issue?
No, I don't think so, Jake. I think what we have said consistently is that the pandemic and the economy are interlinked. And certainly we saw, just as the Delta variant posed real health challenges to the economy, it also had economic impacts. More people were consuming goods at home, watching TV rather than buying a new television, rather than going out to the movies and spending on services. And so that's added to some of the supply chain challenges that we face. But we're seeing these price increases as inflation globally because of the supply chain challenges associated with COVID. That's why we're going right at attacking those issues right now as well. In the very immediate term, we're working with ports around the country to get goods moving more quickly through the economy. And this infrastructure bill, the bipartisan bill that the president will sign tomorrow, is the most significant step that we will have taken in decades to actually invest in the arteries that help move goods more quickly through our economy, more cheaply through our economy, and was designed that we can move out quickly on some areas like our ports to try to start providing some relief. So we have been focused on this issue. We continue to be focused on this issue in the short term, but also addressing these medium-term issues as well.
So, but you talk about the Build Back Better Act, which is $1.75 trillion as a solution to this problem, but your predecessor under President Obama, Larry Summers, he pointed this week to the $1.9 trillion American Rescue Plan that was passed earlier this year in March. He said that's a major reason behind the rising inflation, something he called at the time, quote, the least responsible macroeconomic policy we've had in the last 40 years. Is it possible that Americans are suffering now from high prices because the Biden administration overstimulated the economy with all of this money going into the economy?
Well, no, that's not our perspective. The American Rescue Plan saved us from an acute economic emergency. It's hard to remember, but recall that when the president took office, there were 18 million people collecting unemployment benefits and 3,000 Americans a day dying. But Professor Summers agrees on the Build Back Better plan that it will not increase inflation, and actually making investments in things like lowering the cost of childcare or providing universal preschool will actually improve the productive capacity of our economy. So I think we actually know what we need to do here. We need to make a fully paid for investment that will actually unlock more opportunity, get more people working in the economy, and that's where our focus is.
If you are standing by your statement and the president's statement that inflation is transitory, short-lived, when do you think inflation is going to go back below the 2% level considered normal?
Well, look, there's lots of independent experts that make predictions. Most believe that inflation will moderate next year. But I really think that, consistent with what you were talking about before, most Americans are less interested in predictions and they're more interested in actions and seeing concrete action to try to address these issues. That's what our focus is, and the poll that you put forward showed that a significant majority of Americans support the components of the Build Back Better agenda because it is oriented toward delivering on the practical cost issues that they face in their lives. Housing, healthcare, childcare, transportation. These are things that typical Americans are dealing with, and these are solutions that we can provide. And action is going to speak louder than words. We recognize that. That's what the American people are looking for, and that's why we are focused on moving this bill through Congress and getting this infrastructure bill implemented without delay.
So is Build Back Better, is that act going to pass the House this week?
Well, we are confident that it will. We are confident that Speaker Pelosi is going to bring it up and that it will pass this week. We'll move forward in the next process and moving it to the Senate.
Is the SALT tax deduction, state and local tax deduction, is that going to be in the Build Back Better Act? Some experts say it could actually result in the wealthiest Americans in these states getting a tax break.
Well, there's a fix to that issue that is included in the House bill. This was an issue that the Trump tax cut, the 2017 tax cut, created huge uncertainty in our tax system by capping that deduction for state and local taxes for a couple of years and then letting the cap go away completely. What the fix in the House bill would do would be provide a long-term higher cap on that issue. And so that's in the bill, and we expect that that will be part of the bill that will be put on the floor and be considered by the House this week.
All right, Brian Deese, thanks so much for joining us today. Appreciate it.